Hello, and welcome to Book Circle. I'm Earl Weinberg, and this time we're having an interview with Carol Whitmore, daughter of Robert Whitmore, the subject of Gems and Journeys, a biographical travelogue, I guess you could call it. And she will be giving us the background on this book and on her father's career as a mineralogist, rockhound, and gemologist. Carol?
Hi.
What is the book is clearly by someone else, Ellen Oberkotter Lambert. What is her connection to you and your father?
My father was a member of the Capital Mineral Club. Mm-hmm. He was president for a while. Ellen was a member. She had an interest in minerals and gemstones herself, so she joined. She met my father, and my father was one that liked to inform everybody any way possible he could to help him become a better mineralogist.
A natural teacher.
Yes, very much so. And he had a wealth of knowledge, and he let everybody know he possibly could to be able to better themselves at being rockhounds, mineral collectors, mm-hmm. where to go, anything he could do to help, he was more than willing.
I see. And in her admiration, which shines through in the book, she wrote this book about your dad. Okay. Do you know anything about her writing process?
I know that she came to my parents' house quite frequently, mm-hmm. and she just spoke to him. All the pictures in there are pictures my father took when he was on his trips, because mm-hmm. he did extensive travels, and most of it was done because he invested wisely. He also owned his own mine for a while, and you know, with the investments, it pretty much paid for all of his trips.
Oh, yes, and this book is mostly about his many trips.
Right.
Okay, so she got her data by direct interview. Okay.
Yes.
Was there anything notable about the publication process that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I didn't have any part of that at all.
Okay. Well, the first part of the book gives the background on your dad's life, and then we go into the various travels he made. Mm-hmm. And he took you and your mom and your...
Just mother.
Oh, well, okay. I misremember. What is one of your favorite parts of the book?
I did like some of the trips they went to. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have been able to go to Egypt. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have been able to go to, I would have to say, China would have been nice.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those were my favorite ones, to see the pictures of that he took and just to hear them. But, you know, Egypt was a big one.
Oh, yeah, well,
yeah.
The minerals are right out there.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a part of the book you would care to read aloud or have me read aloud?
I find, I mean, the whole book is just, it's hard to just pick one thing that you like.
Right.
I know I supplied one of the last pictures that is shown in the book. It was one of, and it's on the very back, the very back.
Oh.
I went up to my house. That was a picture that I had when they were in Portugal, and they both looked so happy. You know?
Yeah, that's a great shot.
That's like my favorite picture, and that made it into the book the very last minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but your dad is getting a kiss from a seal.
Yes, and he was enjoying it, and Mother was enjoying it too. Okay. But most of their trips were all based upon mineral collecting or gemstones. There had to be something there
Right.
for him to do.
Right.
Which is why he had gone to Africa so many times.
How many times did he go?
17 times
Wow.
to Africa. They didn't want him to leave either. He found quite a few brand new pockets of tourmalines there for them, and they didn't really want him to leave because he was finding all this stuff
Right.
for them.
Stay and hunt rocks for us. Right, okay.
You know, I mean, there was so much that he got to see and the people he got to meet. I know when I was growing up, we had the University of Chicago that would come out and do research trips. Paul Moore was a big one for helping do the research on a lot of the new minerals that Dad found at his mine. And he has a mineral named after him.
I was about to ask, you say new minerals, do you mean newly discovered? And you then...
And newly named minerals.
Right, so there's a mineral named, what, Whitmorite?
Whitmorite. And his partner, when he first bought the mine, he has one called Fogite. His first book, which I brought with me, which is...
Give us a look at it.
This is the pegmatite, known as Palermo. This is the mine Dad owned. This was my playground growing up. I got to do everything, a lot of things I shouldn't have done.
That's what
I
playgrounds are
also
for.
learned how to do drilling and blasting. I used 5 different types of dynamite when I was up there with them in my whole childhood and growing up.
And did you tell your mother?
She knew.
She knew, okay.
We were raised differently. You have a very healthy respect, and it's not a bad knowledge to have if your father does this. You have to learn everything because you have to keep that, you know, the dynamite at your house, the blasting caps, it all has to be safe and secure.
Oh, yeah.
And you're traveling with it. So you have to be aware of any and all safety, you know, and what goes along with it. And you learn the do's and don'ts when you're anywhere near it. So it wasn't a bad thing.
Oh, no.
And
essential.
I weren't real tiny when I was learning this.
No.
By any means.
No.
No, but it was something good.
Would it be all right if I, say, read a section of the Egyptian trip to the audience?
Yes.
Okay, let me locate that. Now, the name of the club again was?
Capital Mineral Club.
Capital Mineral Club.
Yeah.
And they have their headquarters where?
They do meetings every month. And there's actually a website that you can go in, you can join. Anybody that's interested in mineral collecting, I recommend it tremendously because they'll teach you, they'll take you out to different mines, and you know, it's good knowledge and they help you. They're willing to help.
And if you do a search on the web for Capital Mineral Club, you'll hit it.
Yes, you will.
Okay, great. Well, then I will read a bit of the we're not really set up to show the pictures. There are lots of fun pictures in here of the trip, but I can at least read a section of it. At some time in life, generally as a kid, most people fall in love with Egypt. The sheer magnificence of the monuments, statuary, and artifacts, along with the rich history of the area, draw one's imagination and admiration. Bob was no different and grew up loving everything Egyptian. When Skip and Karen offered an opportunity to travel there, he lost no time in agreeing. Karen, according to Bob, has magic. She can find things and make plans. What Karen had found was a breakdown cruise up the Nile for half the cost it would normally have been. The flat-bottomed boat had been sold to the local businesses by a Polish cruise company, and representatives from that company were on board to teach the Egyptians how to run the boat and how to take care of the passengers. Although the boat was designed to accommodate nearly 100 passengers, there would only be about 20 on this voyage, so all the attention of the crew was focused on them. Every need was supplied quickly, and it was a luxurious trip. After flying into Egypt, they spent their first night in a hotel. The enticing view of some pyramids from the 12th floor made Bob anxious to get going. They boarded the cruise the next morning, and after that point, they slept on the boat every night. During the day, the boat went upriver, stopping at points of interest a couple of times a day so the travelers could get out and explore. While on the cruise, everything had been paid for in advance. The amenities were opulent and the meals were excellent. Skip told the cooks that Bob liked hot peppers, and they began to put them on the table for him, including varieties he had never seen before. They all stand back and see whether you're going to eat them or not, and their eyes would bulge when you ate them. I even ate them for breakfast. Every meal, a big cup of peppers. That was back when I could eat hot peppers. Mm-hmm. Eventually, the cruise reached the Aswan Dam. At this point, the boat paused for a few days and the travelers switched to a bus to explore the area, returning to their boat to sleep every night. Bob and Ellen took a side jaunt by plane to visit some sites to the west off the regular path, and the $60 each they spent for the night was well worth it. From Aswan, the cruise began to head north again. In addition to seeing archaeological sites, they spent as much time as possible going through towns and meeting people. One time, they were invited to have lunch in a private home with some local residents who spoke English well. They drove around the town sightseeing with them afterwards. Bob says, "We didn't even know what town we were in. It was fun." One of the best parts about touring through towns was the food. Restaurants tended to cater to tourists with American and European foods, but the locals offered traditional dishes. These were recipes they had been making for hundreds of years, and Bob and Edna thought everything tasted wonderful. Although there were a couple of opportunities to collect in quarries, the material was not particularly interesting to them. One could obtain a chunk of limestone, but there were no actual crystals or desirable specimens. Egypt was more of a traditional tourist trip than a collecting one. They took tours in every city they could. Bob thought the shops were amazing, but he did not buy much. "You could have your own museum of Egyptian things. I already had enough stuff in my house. I didn't want to build a new room." Eventually, they all wound up in Cairo. This was where the cruise ended, and it was also where they hired a guide, less for safety reasons and more to have someone to get them around efficiently. Cairo was a bewildering place with more to do and see than one could possibly manage in the time they had. Of course, they saw the Sphinx and many pyramids, including one small one which they hiked completely around. It was a long walk, and Bob realized that even a small pyramid is still enormous. The ancient Egyptians, in his opinion, were marvelous engineers. They were allowed into one pyramid, and Bob was surprised by how uninteresting he found the interior. Other buildings were more fascinating, and there were a tremendous number of them one could visit and explore. There were temples and statues, and the tax collectors had built some fantastic private palaces. The Cairo Museum was especially pleasing. A great number of mummies were there, of pharaohs and other prominent men and women, which the visitors could see close with only a pane of glass separating them. When he got to the room that held all the queens, Bob saw a big sign at the entrance forbidding flash photography, and a bunch of kids were inside taking flash photos. He shook his finger at them and made a tutting noise to get them to stop. He didn't say anything because then they would hear his American accent and know he was a tourist and would not listen. Because of his tendency to wander off into places he was not allowed to be, Bob had often had fingers shaken at him, and it was entertaining to be the finger shaker for once.
I experienced that up at the mine, but I know one story Dad used to talk about when they went to Egypt is they went to like an open air market. Mm-hmm. So he tried a hot pepper because he was a big one. And they couldn't believe this American could eat hot peppers. So then they started sending runners through the whole place trying to find hot peppers just to get my father.
Oh, gee.
And he finally's like, "I can't eat anymore. I've had too many now," because you can only eat so many hot peppers.
Yeah, they back up on you, whether you can tolerate the heat or not. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, my.
And they had an interesting way of trying to get out of Egypt because when they went to Egypt, that's about time they were having the revolution, and they literally had to flee and run, and thank goodness they had a guide because the guide helped them get out instead of being stuck there and having a big problem.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah.
That was a sort of narrow squeak.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Were there any other narrow squeaks on their travels, like in Africa? Maybe? Well, Egypt's in Africa, but I mean
No.
sub-Saharan.
Africa, they went to a big cat farm.
Cat farm?
Well,
Oh, a big cat farm.
big cat farm.
Meaning a farm where they
Lions
grew.
and all of that.
Uh-huh.
Nobody wanted to get up and go see them. And my mother, who's about my height, but she's tiny, she's like, I want to go up and pet them. And everybody's like blocking the way and nobody wants to get up. And you can tell by pictures in the book, my mother was the first one to get up there and cuddled against a lion. And after that, everybody was embarrassed and I think they wanted to go up and get their pictures taken with the lions too.
So these lions were tame enough to be petted.
Yeah.
I mean, the
the handler was right there.
Okay, yeah.
But, you know, you get to get right up close and you can see by one of the pictures in the book.
Right.
Mother was right up there with it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm the same way when it comes to animals like that also.
Yeah.
We fed the stingrays once when me and my mother went on a trip and
I have done
nobody,
that myself. Yes.
everybody was standing in the boat. Nobody was moving. It's like, get out of the way. I don't have a chance to travel, so get out of my way. I want to get out there and I want to feed them and I want to enjoy them.
Yes, stingrays are. I'm here to tell you, stingrays are surprisingly friendly.
Yes, they are, especially when it's food.
Yes, well, that always helps.
Most animals are food motivated,
Of course.
you know, little kindness, a little food. You can do whatever.
Yes, I remember being flapped at by a stingray who didn't think I was fast enough with the fish.
I've got a picture of one coming up on the side of my mother, and it's like this huge monster coming up on her. It had to have been 6 feet across.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're so silky.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
So now you said you played in the mine when you were a kid. Are you a member of the Capital Mineral?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you go around New Hampshire and looking for minerals?
Not so much now, but we pretty much, myself and my mother, we have an open door. Anytime we want to go up to Palermo, we're allowed to go up. You know, we have access to the mine pretty much as long as possible.
Okay, great.
So I bring my mother still up. She's 85, and we still go up. You know, whenever I can get her up there, we go up.
Great, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, there is a somewhat famous mineral connected strictly with New Hampshire. Do you know anything about Herkimer diamonds?
Herkimer diamonds are in New York.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought sure they were in New Hampshire.
No, New York.
Okay.
I went there. I did mostly mining with my parents in Maine, Vermont, obviously New Hampshire, New York, Massachusetts. You know, those were all the places I went. But Herkimers are from Herkimer, New York.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I know they're not diamonds. Can you tell me what they are?
They're not like technically diamonds, but the way they're formed and the way they're made, we'll say the chemicals, I refer to as chemicals,
Yeah.
because everybody has their own. They do tests on them to find out exactly what they're made of when they form. It's just a really I'll call it like a high quality quartz.
Oh, okay.
It's not quartz, but it's the same idea as a clear gemstone like your quartz or a clear topaz,
So just
except
like-
it's high quality with good refractions.
Okay, so like quartz, it's primarily silicon and oxygen?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably some others in there too.
Right. Okay, well, thank you. Would it be all right if I read a little more? Is there another section or would you like to read aloud?
Or you could find something on their trip to China or Africa.
Okay.
I mean, there's other ones, you know, that I think were just as good.
Okay.
You know, I would have to say those are some of the bigger ones that they went to.
Okay.
Dad really liked Madagascar. When he went to Madagascar, he liked that one. He wouldn't let Mother go to that one.
Why?
Pretty rough
Oh,
and really hard, you know, and he didn't want to risk my mother.
Oh, well, no, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I mean, I know more about Palermo than I do actually most of their trips. I've been a lot of people, you know, through his, who came to visit him, and, you know, that makes it really nice to meet people from different areas.
I'm looking for a section that would talk about the actual minerals.
I think most of the book is going to show where he was and what he did more
Oh,
than
well,
it's
yeah.
going to talk about the minerals. I know he found a lot of tourmalines when he was in Africa. That was one of the bigger ones.
Ah,
Most of the other ones are more enjoyment and smaller minerals.
okay. Did he or do you cut crystals?
No, we have somebody here in New Hampshire that does a lot of the stone cutting. Howard Ewing, he cut a lot of my father's stones for him.
Ah,
And then Michael Diber, who is a carver, did some specialties for my father. He has a scourgelite whale that was carved by Michael Diber, you know, which was a big thing. And then there's a couple other minerals that he had carved for my father.
how about reading from the trip to Namibia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob credits noted mineral dealer Charlie Key with getting him started on traveling to Namibia. One day at a mineral show, Key had brought Bob out to his car, opened the trunk, and showed off a magnificent specimen of barrel clusters on matrix from Namibia. Bob was hooked. A trip to Maine to see more of Key's African minerals followed, and Bob knew he wanted to travel there for himself. For many years, he and Edna went at least twice a year with different friends and family members. Between Namibia's rich animal life and the incredible array of minerals, it became their favorite destination. He has actually forgotten how many times he has been there, and the stories and photographs blend together. With some advice from Key, they chose a few places to stay while in the country. One of these was a Gasthof, on a guest house, on a farm run by Germans. It was at the base of some mountains, and one could see the miners faintly through binoculars. They hired a helper with a big knapsack and filled it with provisions from the local shop. Bacon, coffee, and water were most desired by the miners, and as they were reluctant to leave their claims to get food for fear of someone taking their spot, they were very pleased to trade minerals for supplies. Bob was even able to get in a bit of digging himself. In matrix, it reminded him strongly of Conway granite. Overall, the prospecting in Namibia was productive and enjoyable, and Bob wanted to purchase property and stay during the winters, but Edna was disinclined. As wonderful as the minerals and animals were, along with the locals, who were some of the nicest people you would ever meet, New Hampshire was her home. Mining adventures abounded in Namibia. One time, while traveling with friends Gordon and Pam, they approached an azurite mine surrounded by a chain-link fence and asked if they could go in. The guard refused, but when Bob got his wallet out and offered some Namibian money, the guard opened the gate. He told them there was a second gate which would require a present as well, and he called ahead to let the second guard know they were coming. Many presents were given out. All the guards were saluting us. Bribery gets you everywhere. At one point, they even talked a guard into pretending to arrest Pam as a joke. On another trip, as they approached a town, their guide Johannes said, "Watch this," and sped the car quickly down the road past the crowds of people selling minerals. Toward the end of the town, where the people thinned out, he slowed down to a crawl, and they negotiated with sellers out of the car windows. The guide told them that farther out of town you get, the lower the prices go, and they bought some gem tourmalines for very reasonable prices. Another time, while sifting through the sand between two mountain ranges, they gathered almost a full handful of demantoid garnets. Bob had most of those faceted when he got home. He tried to find the place again on subsequent trips, but he was never able to. Most towns near the Orongo Mountains had throngs of locals selling specimens. The men would work claims, and often the women and children sold the minerals. One can be mobbed by people pushing dozens of specimens up into one's view. It was chaotic and claustrophobic, and Edna usually refused to leave the car. But as Bob says, once you've been to Madagascar, you aren't afraid of anything. He enjoyed looking at the offerings and purchasing some. In one town, a small boy was thrusting an uninteresting rock from the road toward Bob, chanting, $5, $5. Bob told him, nope, find me something better. Another random rock was offered. Nope, you have to find me something good if you want some money. The kid was gone a long time, and sure enough, when he came back, he was holding a puppy. $5, he said, offering the dog. Bob, curious why the boy wanted exactly $5, asked him. Although very young, the boy already spoke his own dialect, a bit of French and German, Afrikaans, and enough English to explain that $5 would get him into a good school for a year. Bob gave him the money, and the boy handed the puppy over with tears in his eyes. Bob then said, okay, I got your dog, but tell you what, I can't bring him back to America with me. He then gave the child $5 more and handed the puppy back, with firm instructions to take good care of his dog until he could come back for it. The kid was beaming ear to ear. Bob says, that worked out pretty nice. I think I made a good decision. You can't be an old grouch all the time.
That sounds like Dad.
It sounds like your dad is someone I would very much like to meet.
Yeah, he was very nice.
And on that
It's a
note,
big loss.
I think we'll draw the interview to a close, and I want to thank Carol Whitmore for giving us this introduction to her father, Bob. Good night.